Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Collecting Vintage Unopened podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart. This is a podcast devoted to discussing anything and everything in regards to the collecting of vintage unopened sports and non-sports cards. And tonight we have an awesome guest, Chad Davis, who has a new vintage unopened company called Jackpot Sports Cards. Chad, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Been looking forward to it.
No, me too. So I thought we could start with kind of the standard question for this podcast, which is your background in the hobby and how you got into collecting unopened.
Okay. So, my background started when I was 9 years old, I guess. I remember my mom had come home from the grocery store, and I will never forget the pack she brought home was a 86 tops baseball rack pack, and it had Pete Rose on top. So I know that was that did not stay unopened though. I opened that. So very quickly I just got super, just fell in love with cards. Um, Fell in love with just everything about the sports cards market at the time. I was 9 years old, and there were some kids in the neighborhood that got into cards, and the next thing you know, I mean, really, like within a calendar year from the first baseball card that I ever received, we opened up a shop. My mom and dad and me. It's called. I still have one business card left. It's called Chad and Dad Sports Cards.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that was our original business card there, and we had that from, let's see, I guess it was late 86 through 1990 or 91, right around, like right about the time I started going to high school. We ended up closing it up, and but for some reason the unopened sector of the market was like in me even as like a young kid. I remember when I started high school, I'd boxed up through just Rubbermaid tub after Rubbermaid tub with tons of unopened boxes and rack packs and everything else. And just every time my parents would move, I would move them with them. And yeah, and here we are. Like I was out of cards for many years. And then I don't know, 3 years ago, roughly, something like that.
Mhm.
I had been, a friend of mine had been telling me for, oh, he probably started telling me 5 years ago about the card market coming back. And my son and I had taken a like father son road trip in the summer up to Montana to West Glacier, and there was a little card shop up there called Sports Cards Plus. I think
Mhm.
the owner's name is Tony. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been in a card shop since we closed up, like so. We stopped and went in there, and he was trying to, when I told him I had a shop when I was a kid, and he was telling me how booming that the market was. I really had no idea. I didn't know what a breaker was. He was trying to explain to me what breakers were and rips. I had no, I mean, they didn't have that when I had a card shop, I mean, we didn't even
Sure.
have the internet. So took me a couple years to really kind of get back into it, and then I just kind of dove back in head first, and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
That's
So been a
that's
lot of
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
And you have quite the unopened collection as well. Do you have a focus for your unopened collection?
Um, I wouldn't say really a focus. I'm
Yeah,
uh like we had talked before about, like I go with my gut. Like, if I see
sure,
something that resonates with me, I'll
sure.
go after it. If I feel like this is something that I think will either, is undervalued or could
Hmm.
turn into something, um, I'll take a shot at it. The only thing that I really I guess PC at this point uh is 84 Donners on open. I love 84, a little bit of 84 Fleer too, but 84 Donners on open, like the racks. I love the 84 Donners racks. It's just,
Oh
it
yeah,
brings back so many memories because when we built the store up, Chad and Dad's up to the point to where we actually had 84 Donners wax boxes and stuff on open. That's when I like as a kid, I knew I'd hit the big time when you
Sure.
pull an off Mattingly rookie card, maybe, So I just love the design. I love the little small white borders on the
Sure.
outside. I love the close facial face, shots, the head shots on like Strawberry and Mattingly. And uh, I believe it was the first year that Donruss actually put the rated rookie on the front of the card for some of the rated rookies, because I believe they started in '83, but there was only like 6 cards, and they put it on the back of the card, rated
Okay.
rookie, six
Sure.
cards.
Sure.
So it wasn't the logo that it is today, like the design, but I'm pretty sure that's the first year that they had rated rookie on the front of the cards, like Joe Carter
Oh
and
yeah. I,
so yeah, that's kind of what I PC. My focus right now, as far as like for the business, like like buying and
of
selling,
course. Yeah.
are just what's really hot right now, the vintage cellos, racks, stars on top, stars on back,
Sure.
70s stuff, 78 and back, 77 and back. That stuff's doing really well. So yeah, I was really focused on boxes, on open boxes, for like the first year and a half that I got back into
Hmm.
market. And just in the last, say, 6 months or so, I really started to put a little bit more time into educating myself on the graded packs and the rack, BBC wrapped racks. And yeah, that seems to be where the market is headed right now for sure.
Yeah. It seems. I mean, the latest auction results have just been incredibly strong. And whatever concerns people have about the state of the economy, the state of vintage unopened seems to be incredibly strong.
Oh, yes, no doubt.
Yeah. Uh, I know there were people probably who saw the Robert Edward summer auction and thought, oh, might be a good time. Maybe there'll be less competition. And then the results were just insane, more than
You saw
ever.
it at the National too. I mean,
Yeah.
it was every every big time rack or cello that I put out at the National. I mean, I either sold it or you know had offers to sell it that I just decided not to. But like the really good stuff, the really unique stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
people definitely have a desire now. There you can find plenty of buyers for good stuff for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. And this was your first time at the National as a seller, right?
Second,
Second.
yeah, so it's the first time as the National as a seller since I was, I think, 11. I can't remember what year they were. We set up one year when they were in Dallas. I can't remember what year that was. That's been too far back.
Sure.
But I, I believe that we set up there. So, but as an adult, yes, first time to set up as a seller. Yeah.
So is it? I've always wanted to, and I need to ask Kurt this too, and others that have set up. Is it? What's it like to be a seller? Is it as much fun as being a buyer? Because the Nationals just everyone that knows what an incredible, overwhelming experience it is as a buyer, but only a select number of people are there as sellers. What was it like for you? Was it just completely overwhelming?
Um, well, I would say not overwhelming.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough, I've been lucky enough to build some great relationships in the last 2 or 3 years with a bunch of the, like people that have a lot of knowledge in the unopened market,
sure.
like Kurt, Michael Honeyman, Mike
Mm,
Sancioni. I don't want to start naming names because I'll leave
sure,
people out, but
sure,
there's like Tim Monahan came by, the
hmm,
booth, and so I had people, David Glazer, a bunch of guys. I mean, I met hundreds of guys that we've spoke through Facebook or through Messenger, but not seen each other face to face, maybe.
sure.
And so I was fortunate this year because, as I told you before we started, I've been going through having a rough summer with like sickness and health, kidney stones, all kind of craziness.
Sure.
So I wasn't really as prepared as I typically feel confident I would have been. But I
Hmm.
was fortunate to not get too overwhelmed because my booth was very close to actually very close to Kurt's booth. So like a lot of our like circle through the vintage wax and packs groups on Facebook were just like going back and forth. And so like if I had a question on something that I hadn't priced yet, I was very easy, it was easy for me to get some quick opinions from, like from people that, have a good grasp of this market. Calvin Arnold too, one of my best friends, he was not too far away as well. And so overwhelming, I would say not too overwhelming, but definitely busy. I don't think I ever left the booth other than 2 quick trips to see Steve to have something wrapped. And it was just like straight there and straight back. I never walked around the show and got to look at anything. So as compared to when I was like like someone just coming there to buy from the year before when I was in Chicago, that's disappointing because you don't get to see much other than your own stuff. Sure. But we had a great time. Maddie and I both. We had a great time. Met a lot of nice people, and we had a really great show. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. We were giving away like kind of some of the modern fat packs. Like I think it was like 2020 Illusions, Chronicles, football packs, and some prism packs we were giving away to like pretty much any kid that looked under the age of like 10. Sure. We were giving away. So that was fun to see, to see the kids' faces light up. That was really fun. That was enjoyable. And there were some, the people were great to deal with. Like, I mean, we really didn't have any negative aspects of the show. I mean, everyone was very polite and cordial to us, and it was a great time, It was really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no,
and the market was strong. I mean, I didn't even get out half of the graded cellos or hardly any of the racks that I brought because I just, ran out of room pricing stuff. And it was strong. There was a lot of people there, especially early. A lot of the big buyers come early, sure. Like the day of setup or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I think everyone was busy. I know Kurt did well, we did well. I mean, pretty much everyone I talked to did well. And the crowds were great. The crowds were unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it seems like for all of the, there's obviously before each national, there's always a question of how big is this one going to be compared to previous ones, but it never seems to disappoint. At least, it's always an impressive show. But the unopened, still being such a niche area of the hobby, people don't realize how this is the disconnect I think that exists sometimes between people that collect graded cards or raw cards and people that collect packs. People don't realize how amazing it is to see a 1970 Topps rack pack or I don't know if you've ever experienced that disconnect, but that's the one thing about unopened that drives me crazy. Is that people are just like, well, that's not really that old because I've got this Pete Rose rookie card. So why is your rack pack from the 70s so cool? I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, there were so many times, and this happens like at the Dallas show too. When I set up there, mm-hmm. I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day, especially at the national, like people will come by and they'll look at your setup mm-hmm. or your showcases or whatever, and maybe I'll have like a cello pack with some star on top. And they'll look at it and they'll see that like the grade is like say a 9, right? Mm-hmm. But like to their view, the card doesn't look like a 9. They don't even realize that it's an unopened pack 90% of the time. They're just looking, see the card, they see the grade. I can't tell you how many times a day I would have to answer that. Well, it's not just a card, that's an unopened pack. Then they take a second look at it and they're like, oh, it's like they don't even see the logo on the front. It just goes, So the unopened market is still very, I mean, there is so much knowledge to be had out there to be learned by the rest of the marketplace mm-hmm. and the hobby overall. I think there's a lot of interest in it. and it's definitely has grown even in the last 2 or 3 years that I've seen. But we just need to find a pathway to create more new blood to get into our little niche, because it is, in my opinion, a like a cool rookie card, pick whoever, right? Like even something more not too extravagantly expensive, like an 89 Fleer King Griffey Jr., right?
Sure.
Like, yeah, the card in a 9 or a 10, it's cool, brings back childhood memories. A lot of us, we fall in that demographic age range, a lot of us unopened guys. But like the pack in a 9 or a 10 with him on front, on top, I mean, it's just like, how many fewer of those are there than the card?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the destination, especially when you get into the older stuff. I love thinking about, like, how did this 72 rack pack make it to, 2022 in Atlantic City, and pulled out of a backpack and sat down on my showcase here, right? Like, how
Sure.
does that, what all avenues of travel did it take? Like, how many basements did it sit in? How many moving sales did it get through that no one happened to buy it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
how many kids passed on opening it? It's like, those are the things that I find really unique and really cool about the unopened market. Why I love it so much.
Sure. Yeah. No, to me, I refer to them all the time. They're artifacts and they're survivors. There's absolutely no reason why they should still be around.
Yeah, especially
And,
when you get into 50-year-old stuff, I
oh,
mean,
oh yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff that the insane stuff that we've seen come up for auction or that you see at the National for sale. How is this still here? I mean,
uh,
it's kind of romantic in a weird way. It's like
for sure.
there's a mystique around it, and I don't know. It's hard to explain to people that don't.
It's like we're the middle-aged Goonies kids. That's what we are.
Sure.
We're trying to find the hidden treasure, and sometimes we stumble upon it.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Well, and the hunt is so much. The hunt it's like other people that go antiquing. It's like once in a while they'll find a treasure. Most days they don't. And to me, I think unopened is very much like that
yeah.
because it's all about trying to see value where others don't, trying to spot things that bargains that other people don't even see for what they are.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's just part of it. I don't know if you agree with that, but
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's and even the people who aren't like actively members of the unopened sector of the sports card market,
sure.
even when they come by the like my booth, or they'll email me or message me, or like whether it be at the Nat was in
Mm-hmm.
person, National, or in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are intrigued by it. I mean, even if they have absolutely no money involved in it and they have no unopened products, I can't tell you how many times people will stop and chat for 5, 10, 15 minutes, just like picking my brain, or asking about the different products, and like, telling me about, oh, I used to have, those, this, that, and the other. Like, there's a lot of interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I still feel like there's a lot of growth potential in our market if we don't let, like what I called earlier, off camera, the click heads
Mm-hmm.
social media, just attempt to destroy this section of the market, because they do not care what they're saying. They only care about the clicks. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's true or not. It's like the National Enquirer. Like, they don't, you know, they're not going to take the time to like learn what they're speaking of,
Sure.
because that won't get clicks, right? They just want clicks. So hopefully someone will come along, um, with a big platform and a big audience, and really love the market, and educate themselves to the point to where they might not be ever to the level of like a Steve Hart or Kurt Christensen,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but enough knowledgeable enough to where they can put out positive, like reinforcements of the unopened market, like a
Yes.
positive message, and give that kind of education to their followers or to their viewers, and which will spring up, like I think there's people that are willing to get into unopened market if they just were confident in their knowledge of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
if they had a way to learn it quickly, they would get involved. But unfortunately, it's not a learn it quickly sector of the hobby. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And I think you're right about the thing that's been frustrating in the past 6 months to a year has been the growing criticism from the clickbait crowd, without naming anyone in particular or being falling into that trap. I don't want to be on one of their channels with this video, but the it's too easy to get on one of those. I don't want that type of publicity. But it's easy to be negative about something when you don't educate yourself about it. It's very easy to be reactionary. And I think it's ultimately long term, like what you're saying, we need people that are positive voices that teach people about unopened. That it's not just bringing people down or criticizing a mistake that was made or what you see as a mistake, but it's about, let's develop this hobby and spread education, because Steve Hart can't do this forever.
Right.
Kurt Christensen can't do this forever. There has to be the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every market, eventually needs new blood.
Yes. Right? Sure.
So I think that there's some guys out there who do not have the knowledge, and I won't name names either. But there are guys out there that don't have the knowledge, but they do have the platform. And it's just a matter of, what they decide to do with it. I we'll see what happens. I do find it very interesting, I guess we'll just leave it at that there's so much hate that is quick to be just pounced on, like BBC or any little, and these same people, they don't even like mention all the cards that have been trimmed that are in PSA slabs. They never even bring it up, right? Yeah. And just, the lack of knowledge, like, these guys, when they say that, like, oh, one pack was bad, so he shouldn't have authenticated the whole box. I mean, it's like they don't even understand the authentication process. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And there's just certain people that they don't want to learn because, trying to teach the unopened market to their viewers, that's not sexy. That's not clickable. Right?
Sure.
So but we have a big, it's small, but we have people that are rooted into the unopened market that have been in it for many years. And I think that the children of that group of guys probably have a good chance of continuing in their fathers or mothers' footsteps. But I mean, yeah, it would be nice, right?
Please, son, or
right. It would be a nice change of a pace to have to have a little bit more positivity about the unopened market, because it does seem, as compared to graded cards, raw cards, it does seem to have the quickest like trigger to pull at, in anything that may seem not on 100% correct in the unopened market. The clickhead, social media content guys, they really attack it like ferociously. I mean, it's kind of strange because they have no money invested in it, most of them, and it's not something that they seem to ever talk about at any other time. But if there's the least little opportunity of that, like maybe something was not like 100%, then they just attack it.
Sure. Well,
and nothing's ever going to be 100%. Calvin and I have talked about this multiple times, right? Like, how is something going to be 100% at all times, right? Like, it's impossible. We're human beings. Like, there's going to be mistakes made, right? But I mean, there's 10,000 videos online of people opening BBC boxes with absolutely no issue whatsoever, right?
Sure.
And then when you have like a weird circumstance of events, like, not going into the whole,
Yeah.
anomaly issue of the 86 Fleer box, but I mean, like, stuff happened back then. It's not like the quality control like it is today. I mean,
Sure.
like,
Well,
so
sure. Well, and to me, that's one point that I try to emphasize is, I mean, there are legitimate rack packs from the early 80s made by Topps that have football cards and baseball cards in them. They're perfectly legitimate. We have years where where collation doesn't exist, basically, where it's just, well, any card can just be kind of anywhere at any time. People like to think its authentication is so cut and dry, and it's incredibly, for all of the precision that goes into it, it's an incredibly imprecise evolving process.
right.
And that's what I want people to understand. I don't know if you, to me, it's like, what one question that I would love to hear your thoughts on, and it seems like everybody has an opinion about this that shouldn't potentially. What do you think about BBCE providing a guarantee?
You can't do that. I mean, the first thing that pops in my head when I read that question or I hear that question is, um, you know, they're charging on some, they're charging a percentage to give an opinion. Okay, this is an educated opinion. Okay, it's not, like when you have a box, if you have an 89 upper deck box wrapped, even an FASC box like 89 upper deck, like it's not a guarantee that a Griffey Jr. is going to be in there, right? It's but like on an older box that he's went through pack by pack or whatnot. I mean, if you start doing a guarantee, like putting a monetary value on it, what is the level of attempted fraud? What level is that going to rise if he was to do that? Can you imagine the level of attempted fraud, how much that's going to raise, how many people are going to go into trying to like get something past him and work some kind of inside deal with their buddies and then get a guarantee on the month. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, that's an interesting. I hadn't actually thought of that kind of the perverse logic of it, where it'll
Yeah,
lead
because if
people.
you give a guarantee,
Yeah,
you're basically giving, you're hanging a little carrot out there for the bad guys to like, hey, like, we have motivation to try to, you know, get more fraudulent merchandise through,
yeah,
and so like I just don't see any way that you could ask Steve or any authentication company, to do that.
sure,
That's it's like, I mean, to me that just seems really unrealistic.
sure.
Has Steve ever made a mistake? Yes, he has. Has PSA made mistakes? Of course.
Sure,
I mean, have a lot of the other companies. I mean, there's a litany of errors and mistakes that have been made in every industry.
absolutely,
But I
sure.
mean, it's put it this way. Uh, you know, if Steve, this is just an opinion, but if Steve were a baseball player, he would be like the great. I mean, he's batting like 980. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
I mean,
sure,
he's like Tony Gwynn times a million. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
sure.
The guy, bats over 90%, 95%. What can you ask for? You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll tell you a little story about how good these guys are. So at the National, I was approached with a Star Wars box, 77 Series 1 Raw,
Mm,
from a couple guys who owned a small shop somewhere, but they're modern guys, so they're not like vintage. They somehow got it in trade. They were just trying to turn it into money.
sure,
So I ran over to my buddy, Kurt's booth, and he went through all the packs real quick for me. And he's like, man, these are great packs. Like, these are like super clean, like high grade packs. Like, these are probably eights, which is really, really good for wax packs. And he's like, but this one pack is bad. It's like, out of the 36, there was one pack that's bad. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run it down to Steve and see what he says. So I take the one pack that's bad and I put it in a specific spot so I would know where it was. And Steve pulled out that exact pack and said this pack is bad. So like the guys that know, the guys that have put in the time and the that it takes to learn all the ins and outs of the corner folds, roller marks, the discoloration of packs, and all the different just in that little 10-minute window. I learned a lot from both Kurt and Steve, but to me it just goes to show that, like, those two guys right now are definitely the top two authenticators in the unopened market. And I just found it very comforting, to be honest with you, that Kurt and Steve, without knowing that each other had both checked, both picked out the one pack that was bad. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about.
Right. To me, that was, like, that made me feel really good, about the two lead authenticators that we currently have in our market.
And both Steve and Kurt, there are two things that I think are just they're such assets for us in unopened, because in addition to having this knowledge, which is so important, they are so accessible and friendly. I can't tell how many packs I've passed on because either Kurt or Steve, I'll just send Steve an email. Steve is a busy, busy guy with a ton on his plate. Within 15 minutes, he sent me a message back. I would pass. Here's why. With an explanation. He doesn't need to do that. That's free.
I don't know how he does it, because it's the same with me. I mean, I've sent him, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things to get wrapped over the past couple of years.
Sure.
And even when I just send like a pack or a box or a group of packs, it's the same way. He just gets right back with you. And Kurt too. I mean, like, I can FaceTime Kurt or whatever. I mean, we're a little closer than Steve and I are, just because Kurt and I've, talked a lot more and got to know each other a lot better. But yeah, those guys are, I mean, they're amazing. Like they are, and Kurt is also, heading up his farm, so like this guy, he's up at 4 a.m. and up till 10 p.m. or whatever, and it's, they're like robots. I don't know how they do it. Especially like a year and a half ago when things were really bananas. And Steve would like just rattle right back with an answer to an email. I mean, like, I was like, how is this, this guy probably has like 15 pallets of packs waiting on to authenticate, and he's like emailing people back in 3 minutes, about $88 or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. There was a pack I'd sent him. It was only like a four rack pack wrap order, authentication order. And there was one pack that was bad. This is probably 2 years ago now, maybe a little more. And he sent back, like, it must have been 7 paragraphs explaining why he couldn't wrap it. And it was just, now I understand it more than I did at the time when I read it. When I first read it, I was like, oh, my head is spinning. But it was just the fact that he took time. This is a $30 rack pack order. To sit here and say, if it were me, I would have just said, can't wrap it. Sorry. Collation's off. He didn't say collation.
Guys, man.
They are. They are.
They're just good guys,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Kurt. I mean, like I said, he and I are pretty close, and I mean, like, he knew I had been sick all summer and showing up to the national. And I mean, like, he'd come over a couple different times, and we would just run through stuff real quick, and he would help me, price things that I had not had time to before the national to properly prep because of my health. And I mean, I just can't, thank him enough. Calvin's the same way. I mean, Calvin's the same way. Honey Man, Mike Cincione, he's always accessible to all the guys. I mean, bunch of, I mean, really, really good guys. I mean, Glazer, he's, I've talked to him a lot over the years. There's tons of them, in the group that are knowledgeable and helpful. And of course, Honey Man, we talk now and then.
So before I'm going to give you some time to show some awesome items, unopened items that you have, because you have some of your unopened collection is truly drool inducing for those of us in the unopened niche. Can you talk a little bit about Jackpot sports cards
Mhm.
and what led you to do this business, and what are your services?
Okay. So we're up and running.
Mm-hmm.
What led me into it? When I got back into the unopened market, uh, I enjoyed it. There was a there was a crazy period of time, which is obviously slowed off now, but
Mm-hmm.
about a year and a half ago, when I was actually still using Maddie, my girlfriend Maddie's, because I was not a social media guy when I got back into cards like 3 years ago. So I actually was invited. I had bought something on eBay, and the person that sold it to me on eBay, his name is Mike Binder. He invited me to the Vintage Wax and Packs group on Facebook, and so I was using Maddie's Facebook account for a while, just to see if I liked it or anything, because like I said, I wasn't really like much into social media,
Sure.
and kind of fell back in love with the with the hobby. And then once I kind of like built a little bit of a like a comfortability aspect with the different guys as a group, I was buying a ton. I was kind of just throwing myself into the fire to learn the market by just buying things. And then when I started selling a few things, and just the market just kept getting hot, 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 and then it got to a point where, like, I mean, like, Maddie was getting mad at me because, like, like there was one point in time where we were getting 180, 200 Facebook messages a day, from people in the group, whether trying to sell something to me or buy from me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's slowed way down now. But that's initially what led me to, like, I was going to do a brick and mortar in my hometown, because I actually have a
Mm-hmm.
great town that I live in to do a brick and mortar. It's like the perfect demographics for a brick and mortar.
Okay.
But I just started seeing all those, you know, crash and dash robberies that were going on all over the place in these sports card shops, where people were just driving their trucks through the plate glass windows and just
Mm-hmm.
grabbing everything. I just, even with insurance, I mean, like, it's just so brutal to lose your great stuff like that, and you can't replace some of the stuff.
Sure.
So then, I mentioned the thought of, getting involved in maybe an online presence, an online store, a website. And a member of the group, Dan Simmons, in our group, his wife owns a, like, media company, builds websites, does content, social media content, the whole multimedia company, the whole nine yards. So we kind of had a discussion about it, and originally going to be like a 9 month plan, turned into like a 13-month plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because of me really, like, wanting things a particular way, and I have other things going on too, so it's kind of busy. But we got it launched, and then the national came around, and then this summer I've been sick pretty much all summer, as we were talking off air.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is, right now, I think we have, I don't know, 180, 200 products online. The goal is by November to have, 700, 800 products online. And, I want to be not only just have the store aspect, but, I try to do a monthly blog, whether it be about something in the marketplace, something about maybe a pack or opinion on something, but something related, even like a story from, Chad and Dad's when I was a kid. So I kind of want Jackpot Sports Cards to be not only a website that is, a retail website where you can,
Mm-hmm.
buy from. And I do, you know, I specialize in vintage unopened, but I'll have graded cards and modern stuff on there as well.
Sure.
But also, to be, informational, a little bit entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to start doing a little bit more creative content once I get like products uploaded to the website. I try to put a few more pictures than the standard website of each product, a little bit more description. Because what I would like to see is eventually some of these kids that are 9, 10, 11 that, walk around with their little briefcases with their slabs of nines and tens of all the modern glitzy stuff,
Sure.
but maybe their dads are into it too, but their dads are more vintage.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to see is like I have enough content that's created over the next several months along with like blog entries, informational
Mm-hmm.
entertainment stuff, to where some of those younger kids might, start to like ask their dad a little bit more about the players that came before them and the vintage stuff, and maybe kind of like, not transforms, probably not the right word, but start to kind of like give that younger age group that has an older either parent or sibling that is into the vintage stuff, give
Mm-hmm.
them an avenue to, a place to go click on and learn about the vintage unopened market a little themselves. Maybe they get, interested in it. And, maybe before you know it, we have some young kids that get into the vintage unopened market, because that would be really cool and unique. I think if you started seeing some like 14, 15-year-old, because let me tell you, these kids at these shows,
Mm-hmm.
they're wizards. These kids are not, these are not dumb kids. These are very smart, intelligent kids.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, they're walking around with this modern glitzy stuff, and I mean, they know this stuff inside and out. And if you think they don't, you're wrong, because they do. I mean, these kids know what they're doing, especially the ones that have the little briefcases with all the slabs in there.
Sure.
And I would love to see a couple of those, turn some younger kids into vintage guys, some vintage stuff, turn into customers, or just members of the market. I think that would be really great for the unopened aspect of the market. So yeah, that's the goal. I mean, a place where I don't want to say a one-stop shop, because it's hard to compete on a lot of the brand new modern stuff when you're not, like a quote unquote like authorized dealer. But
Mm-hmm.
from old vintage unopened all the way up to modern graded stuff with a little bit of entertainment and educational content thrown in the mix. And I feel like the guy Dan and his wife Susan, feel like they did a really good job on the layout of the website, and very easy, functionality to use. I'm proud of it. I just need a little time now to get all the inventory uploaded. So I really feel like by Thanksgiving for that holiday season, it's going to be really interesting, and a site that people will really enjoy.
Sure.
So,
Well, and as we were talking before we went on the air, I've been to the website several times. The interface it's so accessible, and there's some really awesome unopened items, and as graded cards as well. It's not just unopened, even though that's uh, uh, one of the main focal points. So I think anyone who's interested should definitely check it out, because we need more people that are selling unopened. We need this hobby vibrant,
I
and I
agree.
think we need more voices, we need more businesses devoted to this. And yeah, no, it's a fantastic website. So anybody out there, is that so can you it's just
Yep,
jackpotsportscards.com.
jackpotsportscars.com. Yep. Social media is Jackpot Chad on Instagram, Jackpot Chad on Twitter, and Jackpot Sports Cards. I have a Facebook business page, Jackpot Sports Cards. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see like at next year's national, or even the year after, however long it takes. It would just really make me happy if we were to see some younger generation kids that actually started to talk a little bit of unopened lingo, and you could tell that they knew what they were talking about and they had gotten into it. Because young kids are obviously very smart, especially if like most of the kids in this business. And when one if it would just take a few, right?
Sure.
Like, but
Sure.
kids model themselves after like fear of missing out or whatever the case may be. They model themselves after, like, let's be different. It's a way. And what better way for like a young collector, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old collector, or even into their teens or early 20s, what better way to differentiate themselves from all their other buddies that are card collectors than to like get into the unopened market, right? Like that would be. It doesn't have to be all the old stuff, It doesn't have to be all like 70s and 60s stuff. There's unopened stuff that they can, that's accessible for names that they still recognize.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, no, you're right. All it would take is literally, it only takes a few people to really start a movement for young,
for a spark, Yeah.
Yeah. That's all it takes. And I think, and it could happen. I mean, it just takes a little bit of education, like you're saying, not just about the lingo, but okay, why is this rare? Why is this Rack Pack rare from 1974? I can get a Dave Winfield rookie card readily available in a PSA 8. Why is this so special as a Rack Pack or as a cello pack? Why is this so cool? That little bit of knowledge that it takes to get started.
Right.
And then
so all you fathers or mothers out there that are watching that are unopened collectors, if you have children, like you are our home base. You're the first like sector of people that we could pull the youth into this market from. So make sure to start teaching kids the unopened market. Well, I'm trying to teach my 10-year-old daughter, but I haven't been able to find any vintage unopened Squishmallow packs yet. So
well, it's my daughter, she likes to watch actually the Ripping Vintage Packs breaks. And she's 4, but she'll sit with me and watch cards being opened. And she'll yell at the TV sometimes. She's like, open them. I'm like, that's what he's doing. So I'm hoping this will stick. Whatever's going on right now in her head that's leading her to want to watch. There's no reason for a 4-year-old to watch. She's like, those are packs of cards, and he's going to open them. I'm like, whatever it takes to keep you interested. Like,
my buddy Honeyman's daughter's the same way. She likes to rip packs and watch packs. And she's 7, so
that's fantastic. That's great. That's what we need.
Yeah. Exactly. That's that's what I was trying to do a little at the National too, with giving away the fat, what they call now fat packs and the modern stuff to the younger kids.
Sure.
But just to try to create a bit of interest.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, like, there's unopened stuff you can get now with names that they know, like LeBron stuff. I mean, most Derek Jeter. I mean, this
sure
recently retired, but 10-year-olds, they know who Derek Jeter is.
Sure, or even Aaron Rodgers.
Sure,
other absolutely.
So I mean, it's like there's a lot of people who collect the tobacco cards that didn't know who a lot of those players were on the the tobacco cards until they spent many years in it. So I just think the same pathway is possible for the unopened market.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. So, yeah, for the long-term viability, that's what we need.
That's what we need, because for sure.
We're going to conclude with the favorite part for some of the unopened junkies that watch the podcast, and that is showing some of your items from your PC that you've so graciously. And we actually have a surprise as well, because you've decided to rip open a pack.
We're going to try to rip open a 81 Topps football rack pack that conventional wisdom and a little bit of research states that there's a high probability of a Joe Montana in here.
Fantastic.
And I've had some other people confirm this. That doesn't mean it's 100%. It might be like Geraldo trying to open up Capone's vault, and there may not be anything in there, but I'll show you some stuff first. I'll show you my favorite item that I have. This is a PC item. It's not for sale, but it's like we talked about earlier. This is a 84 Donruss sealed rack case.
Oh man.
So that's probably my favorite PC item, just because that is my favorite product.
Sure.
Donruss. And then a couple of boxes, and I'll show you a few packs and stuff. Um, this is one of my better stories boxes. Just that was meaningful to me. So this box, so the story behind this, you'll notice Ric Flair has autographed this underneath the BBC label. Mm-hmm. So I had this box, but prior to the National in Chicago, the year before the year before this show, mm-hmm. and it was already wrapped, but obviously not autographed. And the day that we were scheduled to come home, I guess it was Saturday, maybe. Ric Flair was signing that day, so it was a little bit of scheduling, a little bit of work to schedule this perfectly. But basically, I went to Steve and I told him what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm under a time crunch because the line took like 2 hours or whatever. So basically, I unwrapped the box in front of Steve. We filmed it, standing in line, the whole 9 yards. Flair autograph, Ric Flair 16 times, woo, and silver Sharpie. I think you can see it there. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then Steve was gracious enough that I took it right immediately. But once they put the little TriStar, hologram on and everything, we took it right back to Steve, and like he did a quick, another run through of the packs, and then they wrapped it right there where the logo wouldn't be on the autograph, and wrapped it back up, and we were able to head home. So that was kind of a cool story of how we got that done.
That's beautiful, man. That's so cool. And you have the TriStar autograph authentication with the BBCE pack authentication. That's awesome.
So
that is just beautiful.
Cool. And then so a lot of the guys that know me, they know this is my favorite non-sport box. This
Rails and Sales. Yeah, there you go.
So I love it because 1955 is such kind of like an iconic year,
Sure.
55. So this is a full 24 count of the 5-cent wax pack wrap box. Mm-hmm. There are only 9 packs of these that are in the PSA Pop report that have been authenticated. So Steve told me that he believes that there may be one other box, but this may be the only 5-cent wax wrapped. He knows there's a cello box, but he couldn't remember if there was another 5-cent. I think there might be a 1-cent version. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite non-sport items. And
that's beautiful.
And it's there's a pretty cool story behind it if you do the research on it. Of why they did it. It's like it was something for the kids that weren't athletes that Topps, did, because in 55, like, sailboats, like sailboats and locomotives were like huge, like there was a lot of stuff that the kids loved about learning about that. So that's one of my favorite non-sport items. And then a few packs here. So I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. So this is the only PSA 10 in population with the Keith Hernandez rookie on top. Wow. Which, if you're a Seinfeld fan, you know that he had a guest on there a couple shows.
Yeah.
So I'm just I'm a pretty big fan of that 86 Mets team.
Sure.
And how crazy of time that was back then.
Oh, sure.
Documentary they did on them and everything. I mean, that was really, those are some wild guys. So that's one of my
that is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite cello packs with and it's probably wouldn't have purchased this pack, but being that it was the only 10 and with him, with him on top, as I liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is a cool pack. I haven't had this that long.
Sure.
Maybe 6 months or 9 months. I don't know. But this is a 1960 cello pack with double Hall of Famers. Warren Spahn on front and Frank Robinson on back.
Oh, man.
And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. And the pack's really nice. And the cards are pretty well centered as well. You can see them.
Yeah, that Spahn looks dead centered.
Wow. Yeah, it's really nice. So yeah, this is a pretty cool pack. Anytime you get something that's 60 plus years old with double Hall of Famers, that's pretty cool.
Yes, no kidding.
And then another pack I love. This is a 66 with Hank Aaron, Clemente, and Willie Mays on top, batting leaders card.
Oh, that is gorgeous. I think this was a memory lane auction item. If I
Yeah, they actually
yeah.
have one up right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Cool. Cool.
so so this one I haven't sent it to get relabeled yet. They didn't, whoever originally had it slab didn't put in to have, like the names put on top.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one more that's also in a 7 that does have the names on top.
Oh, okay.
And it's the only one in pop. This one is just listed as a third series pack, so who
Sure.
knows? I can't imagine it would be that many more with
Yeah, yeah.
top, but that's a cool pack. And
That's
then
awesome.
this is last cello pack I have here is one that everyone loved to see at the National.
Oh man.
So this is the seven. This is the only 76 cello with that's a PSA 10 that has Walter Payton's rookie on top. I haven't had this long, but it was
Oh, wow. That is
yeah,
just incredible.
this was yeah, this one I really wanted.
Yeah, understandably so. Well, that is just amazing.
Pretty sweet, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
And
no.
then
And didn't you write I think you did a on your website, didn't you do a blog about that pack?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, yeah, we touched on the pack. I don't remember if they edited out the part about Jerry Smith or not, but he actually has a really interesting story too.
Sure.
There's a documentary on him, but I can't remember if that part was edited out on the website or not. But
Okay.
that's a really cool pack. I mean, probably my favorite cello pack.
Understandably so. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then okay, so then a couple of racks here. So
Cool.
this is 75 football rack. And what I like about this, if you can see it there, is that
You
look
got
okay?
Tarkenton, right?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
got a really loaded front. It's got Tarkenton front center, Archie Manning right here. And then if you remember Tom Dempsey, Tom Dempsey forever held the field goal record for the longest field goal. He had a club foot and it was a 63-yard field goal. I can't remember who broke it,
Wow.
maybe like Prater or the guy on the Ravens. What's the field goal kicker on the Ravens? He never misses.
I can't. I know
Anyway,
who you're talking about.
it,
That's
it was
insane.
yeah, it was recently broken. But he held the longest field goal record with a club foot. I want to say he held it for like around 50 years, I think.
Wow, that's
But
crazy.
we have three big names on top: Dempsey, Tarkenton, and Archie Manning, and then Dan Fouts rookie card back center.
Oh man, that
So
pack is loaded. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's a loaded pack. And then this is the pack that I think, since you love 76, I think this
I
is the
do.
pack that you'll really like. It's kind of unicornish.
Let me get my drool bib. No, I'm just kidding.
So it's a 76 pack with
Oh,
three
three red.
Red Sox.
I saw this up for auction. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, yeah,
Oh man, that Jim
yeah,
Rice rookie cup.
yeah, yes, yep. So
Oh, dude.
second year Rice, but yeah, all three Red Sox, and like Maddie, my girlfriend, she's from the Boston area, so it just felt right.
Wow. That is just
Yeah,
incredible, man.
that's a that's a pretty cool rack. I like this rack a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It's hard, that's I like unique stuff like that, like
Me too. Yeah.
same team or whatever. And then your last excuse me, my buddy Calvin, uh, he had showed a 72 baseball or 72 rack pack from the National that he was at the right place at the right time. And then this is the brother to the pack that he had. So we were at my booth when a guy come up and basically broke these out of a backpack just raw. And so this one has you can see the Clemente in action here.
Oh man, what
So
a beautiful pack.
yeah,
1972, that's probably the toughest year for the 70s, hands down. It seems like
yeah,
they just don't turn up. And this guy just had him in his backpack and he just
yeah,
took him out.
yeah.
Did he have a story with him or did he know anything about him?
He did. I think he had sold one at the National like 2 years prior, or that he was from that area, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So I don't know if he had sold it at the Chicago show or if he was talking about from 2 years prior.
Sure,
Uh,
sure,
um, but yeah, he came up at the right time, and Calvin was there at the right time, and Calvin kind of helped me, put the deal together. And I really wasn't feeling that well, to be honest with you, with the attack of a kidney stone. And it just worked out. It worked out well. And yeah, so I'm a big Clemente, fan.
sure,
And so, you know, I have a big brother to this one on its way. So we'll leave that for later.
okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to have you back on the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah, but
sure.
that was unexpected. It
I
was
would
just
have
one of those things where the guy walked up and asked if we buy unopened. I'm like, "Ooh, sure, what do you have?" I mean, I was expecting him to pull out some pro set golf or something.
sure,
I mean, it did not. The old adage, "Don't judge a book by its cover," is so true, because I'd never expected this to come out of this guy's backpack. And so yeah, so that worked out well. And Calvin and I were able to work a deal to figure out who got what pack, and he helped me kind of put the deal together, and we just kind of split it that way. So
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that
yeah,
is when you posted that pack in the Facebook group, I was just everybody was just in a Clemente 72 is just fantastic. And I won't spoil the big brother that you're I know the pack you're talking about, but we'll save that for another for another
yeah,
day because that is probably in the top 5 greatest vintage racks that are still in existence. The pack that's not to
thanks.
build it up too much, but no, you got to
Yeah, I may
everyone.
actually need to work with. I may actually need to. Calvin and I are supposed to be taking a road trip soon, so
Mm-hmm.
I may have to work on him on the other one that he has, because if you remember, it has a Pirates team card on top.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So, I was thinking, I was like, I could pick that one up from Calvin, and then I would have all three of the cards that. Oh no, Clemente had his own in action card that
well,
year.
I guarantee you would be the only person with 3 Clemente showing 72 racks probably in the world.
Maybe so, yeah, maybe so.
Probably.
It'd be awesome if I could find one with the in action card. Then I'd definitely have to get the rack from Calvin. But because Clemente, tragically died in
Yeah,
the plane crash.
yeah,
And it was, so they had a 73 card, but
yeah,
I'm
but
pretty sure it was
he
post mortem.
sure.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah,
so these were that was just a magical pack. And then this is the one that I was if you're game, we might rip it, because I'm of the understanding that there's a good chance that Montana's in here.
yes.
So
Let's rip it. Yeah, why not? If you want to, that sounds great.
we might blank out. If we do, it's no big deal. But let's see if we can what we pull here. The Tatum on top and the card on back are fairly decently centered. So I'm like, might as well.
Sure, give it a
I don't
shot.
think I have a graded Montana right now. So if it's decent, I'll send it off and get it slabbed.
Where should Montana be in the sequence? Like how many cards in?
I want to say somewhere around 5 down, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. Four to six, 4 to 7, something like
Okay,
that. Let's see. And if we brick, then we live to see another day. All right, let's take her out of here. We'll see what we do here. I'll try to show this the best I can here.
sure.
Let's see if we're right.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Come on, Montana.
Let's see. Oh, maybe we're right. Maybe we're wrong. Let's see.
You never know.
So can we see these?
Yeah,
Can we?
absolutely. Yep.
I'm gonna just turn it a bit.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Maybe a bust. I don't know. Kellen Winslow. Yeah, so far our information is wrong. Wrong.
Well, they could have switched the sheet, maybe, right? I mean, that could have happened.
Maybe I didn't see anything upside down.
Oh, yeah, true, true.
Maybe I just had bad information. We'll open the wrap just to see what's
Sure,
in
why not? Yeah, let's open it.
it. You had asked about the website, and I may have mentioned this, but um, I should be getting to the point to where I can start dedicating a lot of time as I've gotten over these health issues this summer, um, to start really focusing on uploading inventory. So if I mention this, I apologize for restating, but
No,
the goal is by the holidays to have 700, 800 products online to choose from, because
sure,
you know try to have something that's somewhat in all price ranges, and
sure,
so
of course, yeah. No, 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 no. That's good to know because, and
let's work.
that's a lot of items to choose from. And
Yeah.
even the selection you have now, even though it is more limited than you want it to be, given your health issues. And by the way, thank you for taking the time to chat despite
Oh,
that.
thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed it.
Oh no, it's been a blast, man. But no, even the selection now, there's some awesome items on there. Really,
Thank
truly,
you. And
yeah,
I'm gonna go through in the next week, because some of that stuff was put on, months ago, well before the national. And so I need to update some pricing. We do free shipping on every order. Everything is through UPS. I think unless you're in like a PO box, Alaska or Hawaii, we
sure,
do UPS free shipping on everything. And so, update all the pricing, what's on there, the stuff that's a little soft, come down, come down a little bit to market value.
sure,
The stuff that's maybe like, that's rolling, price it accordingly. And I'll be adding all kind of stuff. I mean, from $50 boxes up to, $25,000 items, I'll be adding everywhere in between. So,
okay,
all
awesome.
right, let's see if we can you see these? Is
Yeah,
this okay?
absolutely. Yeah, oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
So we got
So far, we're getting a lot of bricks here.
here.
So far, we just have the one, Kellen Winslow halfway,
Hmm.
two-person card. Let's see here.
Now,
Last cell.
which cell should Art Monk be in?
Let's see. Art Monk. I had a pack with him on top. I want to say, I want to say Art Monk was on the footer cell.
Yeah,
Was on the foot cell. I
yeah,
want to say,
furthest from the header.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know Montana's
Memory serves me
typically,
right.
yeah,
Typically the header, I think, right?
yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah. If we're wrong, someone will comment in the section and let us know. uh, all right,
Correct our
last.
knowledge of collation. Here
Yes.
we
Yeah.
go. What we got
Uh,
here?
oops,
Hmm.
sorry.
No, no, no worries.
Danny White, Dan Deerdorf, Butch Johnson. Yeah, pretty big dud. Yeah, well, swing and a miss on that.
Yeah.
Bad information. Bad information. So, but if the Montana was in there, it's probably better to open that based on the
Absolutely.
value of the rack, open it and sub it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, well,
So,
thank you for doing that. That was cool to see.
oh
Um,
man, thank you. Yeah, it's been fun.
yeah,
Been
no,
fun.
no.
I like to, I like to show stuff. I could show, we'll do it again, show some more stuff if you're
Yeah.
interested.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah,
The
once
best thing about this market though, the unopened in
mhm.
closing, I would say is the guys. I mean, like there's some guys in this unopened niche that go way back together.
Mhm.
And and sometimes you get in a situation in an industry or a marketplace or even just like a social circle like that, and it's hard for a newcomer to be welcomed in.
Mhm.
And for the most part, I've not found that to be the case here. I mean, like we have some really, really good stand up, great guys in the unopened, little niche that we're in of the hobby.
Yeah.
And that's probably been the most enjoyable thing in the 3 years that I've really been full force back in it is the relationships. The relationships that I've made have been they transcend just the cards. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah, and
friendships that go so far beyond cards, but yet able to do card deals together still.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I only have about one more year than you in this, like in the modern iteration of this of unopened.
Uh,
And I was the same. I was shocked at how welcoming, knowledgeable, friendly, willing to share information at the drop of a hat, with
yeah.
no expectation, just friendly advice. It's and it's almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everybody's the exact same way. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, no, the only reason I still have Facebook, you mentioned that you don't do social media or, this is I wouldn't have a Facebook if it wasn't for that, for the Vintage Wax and Packs group.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for Jackpot sports cards, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't do social media. It just
Sure.
never my thing really.
Sure.
But yeah, these guys, I mean, there's some really great guys, I mean,
Yeah.
it's Calvin's become a really good friend of mine. He actually moved just 45 minutes away from me here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of the guys in the group have like Honeyman, Kurt,
Sure.
Glazer, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Travis Williams, a good friend of mine that's in
Mm-hmm.
the group. Chad Brain, Ryan Maxwell. I mean, I could
Yeah.
list like literally
Yeah.
200, 300 names of guys that have my personal cell phone number just from the group over the last few years,
Sure.
that we text or talk on a regular basis. So if I left your name out and you're watching, don't be offended. Don't remember everyone, but yeah, it's been wonderful, man. It's been great. I've enjoyed it, and I'm proud of the work that's been put into Jackpot Sports Cards. And I want it to just get better and better, and hope that's the goal, and it's going to happen. So
Yes, it will. Yeah. No, and anyone watching, listening, yeah, check out his website if you're looking into getting into collecting vintage unopened. Awesome selection, some really really cool items, even just to learn about unopened. As he said, he has a blog where you can learn about things with unopened that a lot of people, you may not even know the questions to ask when you first start, and that's kind of where I was. And his website is a fantastic resource for that. So thank you
yeah,
again.
I did actually. There's a little blog entry for beginners that lists like the acronyms and stuff, just for like
Mm-hmm.
a beginning level of the unopened market, what like FASC stands for, and RVP, BBC, all that. So like if you're new to the vintage unopened market or just want to learn about it, you're not going to find a better group of collectors in the entire hobby place. I can assure you that. And we would love to have you. We would love to have you over here with the good guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just don't bet on what we want when we're competing in auctions. I'm just kidding. But well, with that, I'll let you go, Chad. Thank you so much for taking the time and for talking about your new company. And it's just been a pleasure.
Hey, me too. I've enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, Brandon. Hope to talk
Absolutely,
to you again soon.
sounds great.
All right.
Well, with that, I'll let everybody go. Hope you all have enjoyed this. I'll be back with another episode soon. Keep collecting vintage unopened baseball. Take care of each other, everybody.